Hello, this is the RPG Pundit, the final boss in Internet Shitlords, and today I'm going to be reviewing Wretched New Flesh, second edition, and I'm gonna begin though by making a quick commercial note here. You can buy Wretched New Flesh or any of the other Wretched RPG products at the Red Room's own store, but that's also where you can buy my Pundit Files PDF series. And my newest Pundit Files is Pundit Files number 10, Historical Authentic Jousting. And it was meant to be a short little source book after, the Invisible College 1930s campaign issue, which was the previous one, was 22 pages long. It was really huge for that series. It was the biggest one yet. And I was just trying to do something kind of small to balance it out a bit. But then the Mad Hermit, who is the publisher of the Pundit Files, got really excited that I was doing a jousting supplement where I talk about the different types of jousts throughout the Middle Ages and what the rules would be, and present some mechanics for how you can resolve jousting duels in the different periods and what have you, the different methods. And so, my thing was maybe like 7 pages, six, 7 pages. And the Mad Hermit goes, no, but what you should also write about is the horses, because the horses are so interesting. He's apparently had a lot of experience with horses. And so he ended up, he was asking me to do this. And I said, look, I don't really have the expertise for this. I mean, ironically, I was, I rode horses. I was an equestrian for a very significant period of my childhood. But yeah, I never actually learned a lot about the horses per se, because I rode like crazy because my dad was the president of the local equestrian club. My sister did jumping and things like that, but I just like to ride, so I didn't really pay any attention to that. And of course, I wasn't the one that had to take care of the horses. I just got to ride them, I really liked that. But yeah. So I said, I'm not really qualified to do this. He said, oh, well, I know how to do this. But I said, well, then why don't you do this? Come on. So we collaborated. He did the second part of the book, which is bigger than the first part. And so now it's about 29 pages long, which makes it instantly just one issue after the largest one yet. It is now the new largest one yet. It is bigger than the Invisible College. And the material that he's written on like horses and how to make horses more unique and interesting in your game, I think is pretty exceptional. I can hardly think of anything that would match it. Like there might be a couple of details from Pendragon, and there might be a few things from Aces and Eights that would come to be comparable to it, but it's really its own thing. And so you should check it out. Check out the Pundit Files 10, co-written by me and the Mad Hermit, even though he didn't want to put his name on the front page credits, but he does put it inside the text at the part that he takes over. So be sure to check that out. It's very interesting. I might be up to other people doing collaborative stuff with me or something in the future like that. We will see. But anyways, today I'm here to do a review of second edition Wretched New Flesh. Wretched New Flesh is a setting for the Wretched RPG. So this is not a rule book. It actually, in the olden, this is the first edition over here, and you can see the difference in size between those two editions, right? This one is way bigger. Oh, here comes a meatball. Hello, meatball. And so the second edition is much bigger, but also the first edition actually includes all of the rules, because it's a rule book. The second edition is just the setting book. You need to have the Wretched RPG core book to run it with. Well, you can get that from the Red Room, but technically, I guess you could run any of the second edition Wretched products with any OSR setting, right? Like I could imagine doing something that combined Wretched New Flesh and the Invisible College, I think Meatball's trying to express that to me here. What the heck's going on, Meatball? Yeah, you were very noisy upstairs. What's going on? All right. Oh, can I carry on now with this review, please? All right. So Wretched New Flesh, as long as you've got, like, if you're using an OSR system, modern system, presumably, although I guess some sci-fi could work, you could run it with this book. And so this book is not only twice as thick as the first edition, but it's twice as thick without having the core rule set in it. So it's an enormous amount of material that has been added to the product. Let me see here. Meatball, I need this. All right. Very good. Oh, she looks so offended. You look so offended that I pulled that out from under you. All right. So Wretched New Flesh is, it's kind of a cyberpunk game, but it isn't really. It is I think what they call it here is future noir. Yeah, there you go. Future noir, okay, is the genre. So it is set in a very closely near future, I guess, a near future science fiction sort of context. But the real inspiration for Wretched New Flesh, and this is very funny because there's like a lot of things that because I'm not that into pop culture, like especially pop culture after I was a kid, there's stuff I miss, right? So for example, the Basic Expert did an RPG called Atomic Punk, and it was basically meant to be Fallout with the serial numbers filed off, right? And I had no idea because I'd never played Fallout. I don't play video games. I don't read comic books anymore. I don't I don't look at any of that sort of thing. But I know what this is based on because this is old school badassery, which is to say William S. Burroughs. Okay, so it is based on the stories of William S. Burroughs, specifically of Validad or the Interzone, and this is stuff that I guess you could. I hadn't made the connection myself until I read Wretched New Flesh, the first edition, but yeah, I guess you could say it is a kind of cyberpunk, and future noir sounds like a good way to describe it, But anyways, the writings of Burroughs are weird, and there's, I don't know if a lot of nerds would get into it, but it was kind of a preview of the Gonzo style, which is what I like much more. It's kind of that's more of an American version of it. I know that Burroughs was American, but he was. Compared to Hunter S. Thompson, he wasn't, he was a lot more pretentious than Thompson too. But in any case, I at least I'm aware of the setting, right? And the setting is basically of a near future world, let's say, that has a bunch of elements of futurism gone wrong, so it's got a futuristic city, that type of city called Validad or the Interzone, that is a great obsession to the writer of this book, apparently. And the player characters are kind of operators of different kinds. I'm sure there's a number of different ways you could present it, and it isn't just like straight cyberpunk, right? Is where you're basically playing these kind of rebels or self-creating people that are either human or just have like some cybernetic parts. But here they have like there's stuff like bioroids, and you have mutants of different kinds, but there's also stuff that's like supernatural. So you've got a wide variety of potential characters that can appear in this setting because it's surrealist, right? I guess that's one way of saying it. It's a kind of dark magical realism. So there's weird stuff that happens all the time. The other RPG besides Wretched New Flesh that was based on these stories is Over the Edge, which was a very famous, I guess you'd say indie. It wasn't really indie. I think it was Atlas Games that published it, but an avant-garde, let's say, RPG from the 90s that Jonathan Tweet wrote, who later on went on to write third edition, and that's a great setting too. And it's related to the two of this. So here you get, with character creation, you make a life path, right? You select a race, you make life paths. So the life paths, this is stuff that is really good random material that can be used for similar settings, even if you're not using the city itself. You get some particular archetypes that are meant to have their own feats and perks and whatnot. That is like stuff related directly to the Wretched New Flesh material. You can be like you can be a telepath, apparently, a psionicist of different kinds. Because, psychic powers were another big thing for Burroughs. Then there's, of course, sanity rules, which they have expanded here. Because, a lot of the point of the setting is that it is dystopian. It is meant to be like kind of mind-crushing. It's got that aspect of like, this was supposed to be the paradise, but now it's actually terrible. It's worse than usual, right? Like that's one of the essences of the story. It's kind of and it's kind of not because of some centralized evil, but because of things gone out of people's control and also general decay. We've got stuff that is interesting here, like as in forensic tables. I don't think I've ever seen these before, right? This is the kind of thing that would work in like a cop game, right? I think that's pretty neat. And you're going to see tons of this throughout the book, which I probably can't page through in a half-hour video, to be honest, right? But it is full of good ideas. The city generator, this is one I was looking at, that allows you to create an entire city or a neighborhood, and it's quite good. There's material here that I can definitely make use of in any number of campaigns I can imagine. Neighborhoods, you generate city attributes for determining what the quality of the city is. There's stuff I am definitely going to be ripping stuff off of here, Red Room, just so you know. OSR people routinely borrow stuff from each other all the time, or are inspired by each other's things, and this is the sort of product that gets me thinking. It's great. There's great material in here. You got gang generators. Like if you're running, I said this isn't cyberpunk, but if you want to run a cyberpunk game, there would definitely be stuff here that you would be able to make use of, right? As well as stuff that would be useful in almost any modern or most sci-fi games, But then there's also magic. So one of the features of the Red Room is that they always have magic in every setting. That's an optional thing, I guess, but in this case there's quite a detail there of the rituals of the different types of magicians, because of course Burroughs himself was a magician. So you've got a whole set of ritual magic, which is interesting. Not my kind of ritual magic, of course, but still interesting. And this is all material that you could end up, making use of in this game or in others. Then you have there's the bad guys section, the adversaries, which you can see can include like techno cultists or dangerous animals or vampires or androids or thugs. It's the technology section. As usual, the layout is quite good. The artwork is very nice. It's, I think, almost entirely AI generated. I think a neuropod. See, that's the kind of stuff that Burroughs just, he got hard for, like he absolutely loved that sort of crap. But it's great. I ran a couple of campaigns of Over the Edge, and it's a great, like, that sort of weird dystopia, an almost Euro dystopia, you could say, is really fun to run. So now we got a timeline. Oh, that's interesting, right? So this covers the time period of this alternate universe. It's essentially an alternate universe, right? Which it starts by decades, but then from the 70s onwards, it goes to like 30 years from the present date. So, that's a very clever way to set this all up. I doubt they're going to have a future timeline. Oh no, they do. Look at that. My goodness. Oh yeah, but it's not so much meant to be an assistance for developing events in the course of the campaign, because the first entry comes 10 years later. So this is a timeline for basically looking at stuff for the campaign setting if you want to jump up ahead to other periods, right? And for, I guess, for becoming increasingly more sci-fi-esque as you go along. Then we have informations about the major power players of Avalidad and the things that they're into and what they're doing. Random tables. Oh, this is, okay, yeah, there's encounters by neighborhood here. That's good. Some of these seem to be more like flavor tables than useful. I mean, I'm not saying flavor isn't useful, right? But I'm saying that it's, most of the entries here look like they're more about just some kind of a style thing to impress the setting on the players, rather than to set up events and connections. So yeah, very big section on the corporations and their members and the areas in which the default city is located. What's up, Meeple? Very, it definitely is a noir style in the book. We've got stuff on society here. Drug use tolerated. Religion. Body alteration. Future noir fashion. Women's fashion. Languages. The urban slang. Media and entertainment. A lot of plot hooks in these sections. That's good. Very useful. Then we get to the otherworldly. You've got mutants, the apostles of pain, machinatores, factions of the wretched verse. Characters of Avalidad. Citizens. So lots of material here for running your campaign in the setting itself, but note that that's only kind of like the last section, right? Everything before that is broader setting material that could be used for if you didn't want to play specifically in the Interzona Validad setting, you know. So there is a lot of stuff here that can be used for your own benefit in your own type of campaign if that's what you want to do. But there's also an enormous amount of information about the core base of the setting itself, including this was in the first edition before too, which is like an encounter system making use of the tarot. That's the sort of thing Burroughs would have enjoyed. Then there's some more detail there, and you get maps of Validad, map of Agartha, character sheet, and there you go. So, who will like Wretched New Flesh? Well, you have to like either you have to like a modern RPG for starters, right? And you have to like a setting that is that has kind of intrigue and is slightly grim or slightly repressive, you know, which is part of the deal. But it's repressive while it's still, like in this case, we're not talking about something like a post-apocalyptic setting, right? We're talking about, or even kind of your classic cyberpunk. In your classic cyberpunk, the player characters are people that are trapped in this underbelly, or this underclass, I mean to say, right? Whereas in part of Wretched New Flesh is that it seems to be like, you know, an exciting area of opportunities and what have you, but then it turns out that everything is shit, right? So that's part of the noir element to it, you know. So you have to like that kind of stuff. You have to like something vaguely similar to cyberpunk or weird science or near future, and you have to kind of like the noir aesthetic. But regardless of whether you would play it as is or not, there's a lot of material here that is kind of new grounds in OSR stuff. I know that there have been some cyberpunk type stuff in OSR. There has been some kind of there obviously been modern RPGs. Invisible College is one of them in the OSR, and there's definitely been stuff about, like, you know, cybernetics and things like that. But there's still a lot less of that than there is of fantasy. And in this book, you get some... it's a big book of ideas, aside from being a setting, which is what every good setting should be, right? Like, I've always said in my own games, if I'm running, you know, Sword and Caravan, or if I'm you know, but when I publish Sword and Caravan, if you could choose to run it, or you could choose to cannibalize it and run it Al-Qadim, or run some other setting, or it's just, you know, it's not in the real world. You rename it to make it pure fantasy. All of that is allowed, right? And in fact, it is easy to do with my books. And I think here there is a lot of material again that can be cannibalized for other projects, you know, for other campaigns or other games that you want to do. I certainly recommend it. It's very clearly, by the way, the favorite child of the Red Room. I don't know if it's both of them or just Miguel or whoever, right? But clearly, it is the setting that they care about the most above all the others. So that shows in the quality of the work, right? Like, I'm not saying the other, you know, all their work is good, but this one is the one that they like obsess about, it seems, you know. So keep that in mind. Here you're getting, like, this is the chef's favorite dish, right? And it that means that in some ways it is maybe the most representative of the wretched aesthetic of the Red Room, you know. So that in and of itself is a good reason, if it's anywhere in your wheelhouse of the kind of things you're interested in an RPG, makes it worth checking out. Okay. So I guess that's everything. If you like this video, please share. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Hit the like button of the video and get the notifications going so that you can be alerted. I'll probably be doing some live streams in the next couple of weeks. I've finally got a bit of time off. That's one I've been so busy this past month, and I'm exhausted. But here we are, and now I've got a little bit more rest time. And be sure to check out all of my products. The Invisible College could go quite well. I could see there being an Invisible College Hall in Avalidad, you know. So that's one good combination there. You can pick up the Invisible College. There's Old School Companion 2 there if you want some. If Wretched New Flesh is not for you and you want some really classic medieval authentic adventures, then check out the Old School Companion 2. It's got 26 different medieval authentic adventures. And check out all my other products, and especially Pundit Files number 10. Also, keep your eyes open for Baptism of Fire. It could be coming out almost any time now. I guess that's everything for today. Currently smoking Lorenzetti Egg plus Argento Roots. See you later, Meatball. Meatball. She's too busy. Yeah, okay. See you later.